Let's all go down to Doomis Walkers. All right, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. I got to turn off. Why am I getting boom? Getting a little bit of echo in here, and I don't know what it's from. I don't know. We're going to have to live with it. No way around it. Could not tell you at this point what that's going on. Of course, if you're coming in and watching after the fact, you can fast forward to 00:00. Going to start a brand new story tonight, episode 1. Probably only 2 episodes in it. But hey, Dawn, how you doing? Cheers, everybody. Voice a little bit fried today. I don't know why. Hey, Pam, what's going on? Just finished Crypt 2. Well, I hope you went and left a review, darn it. Or you're about to. Remember, no spoilers in the chat room for Crypt 2. Generalities? Sure. Epithets against me? Sure. You can do all that stuff. You just can't spoil it for anyone. Hello, Brian. How you doing? How you doing, Brian? How are you? How you doing? It's just a little tinniness, Dawn. So it's probably, I'm looking around trying to figure it out, but I don't know. Let's go to main for a second. See how our camera's set up. Oops. Oh, Dawn has a migraine. I'm sorry about that. Well, Pam, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll tell you that. Hello, Matt. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. I got to move a little bit over here. Oop, I forgot a thing. I'll do this thing I forgot while I'm talking to y'all. What up, Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD? Import document. Got to get my script up. Got to get my script on. Use document formatting. I put a spell on you. Now you're mine. Boop-a-da-boop. And we bump that up to 30 font. I'll be back with you in all a second. I forgot one little small detail. Which that detail is actually not that small. You actually have to have the story up to be able to read it to everybody. It's kind of part and parcel for this business, this life that we have chosen. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Brian's doing well. I would love to send you some of that California weather, but there's a reason shit's so expensive here, bro, because everybody wants to move to California, enjoy the weather. Edward, Rocco, Cobalt, how are you? Rob, Otto. Rob and I and A are cooking a little news for Slay. It's not a TV show. Chill your tits. It's not a cartoon or anything visual, but we're working on it. We haven't quite got it dialed in yet, but we will talk to you guys about that very soon. Dr. Campbell, how are you? Screaming for Scotty. All right, so we've got, 5 minutes. Let's start talking about business. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Scott Sigler Slices. We start a brand new story today. That story is inspired by the song "I'll Put a Spell on You" by Screamin Jay Hawkins, a very colorful figure in the history of music and blues and rock and roll. Tonight, that is tonight's live read, of course. On tonight's Deep Cuts, we're going to be reading some reviews for the Crypt Void Strike. A and I are just going to chill and hang out with y'all. We're trying a new process for the switchover. You know, we have to stop a stream. You guys get booted. Start a stream. You guys have to come back in. Kim Hansen, you warthogs are interrupting my listen to Void Strike. There you go. So we are going to be doing that tonight. And because you know what? There ain't no party like a warthog party. And we're giving stuff away tonight too. The contest, if you got your proof of purchase or receipt in before, if you got it in before the show, basically. You're going to get a chance to win. A and I are going to go through that. Hopefully, I think A's ready for that. I'm not sure. If not, we'll figure it out. Let's go to main while I have all of you for a second. Oh, I'm on main. What the hell am I talking about? This is where I'm supposed to be. But I'm going to main. And then I'm going over. Since we've got a couple of minutes. Let's hide this. All right. Here we go. Let's go to books. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of day when you can say, come on in, head for the reviews. Key one if I mute A here. Now how about it? There it is. I fixed it. Good evening, Dennis. Good evening, Martin. Hello, everybody. Christine thought she might. You never fail me, Christine. But if you look at the reviews over in Audible for Shakedown, we are closing in on 1,500. That is a big number for this series. Of course, we're going to try and get it way up there in the next 2 or 3 years when the rest come out. But for now, if you have read or listened to The Crypt Shakedown, narrated by Ray Porter over at Audible, and you've not reviewed it, you need to review it. You need to get over there and give me a big old fat 5-star. But coming in now, coming in hot, we're just starting to get reviews for Void Strike. That's what we're going to be reading a little bit of tonight. And right now, let's see if we can do this. Interesting. Because the numbers have been climbing. It was 40, whoops, it was 46 when I looked earlier today. And now it's up to 53. So if you are finishing the audiobook of The Crypt Void Strike, it is very important that you take a couple minutes, go back to Audible, leave a review. I would prefer a 5-star. That helps with the algorithm. And while you're there, and when you leave a review, put in, if you can, if you got the time, put in a review that's like 3 to 4 sentences. Just think about what you liked about the book, put that in. For some reason, it's the review, it's the rating, and it's the length of the review that kind of help. Hey, Tin Man. And those things really help goose the algorithm. And what the algorithm does, of course, is the algorithm puts my books in front of people who have not heard of me before. So that is a really critical thing. That's part of the magic of Audible and Amazon, is eventually you go to this mythological area where the algorithm's like, I guess I'll just show this shit to everybody. That's the voice of the algorithm, by the way. You probably didn't know that. Chris Crawl in the house. And like, man, all kinds of people reviewing this. I'm going to show this shit to everybody. And then boom, it gets shown to everybody, which is what happened with Earthcore. And Earthcore has like well over 10,000 reviews and continues to be a big seller for A&I. Cobalt says, got 5 hours left to Void Strike. It is fantastic. Hello, Nyoka. I think I said didn't miss anybody. Yeah, that's right, Dr. Campbell. Scott was in his secret Kent Clark glasses. Who is that mythical dark overlord? Okay, we got 1 minute, 35 seconds. Of course, if you're watching this after the fact, you want to cut to the story, you can. Fast forward to 00:00. I'm pretty pumped about this story. This is not the visceral horror that you have come to expect from me. It's a little more subtle than what you got out of Void Strike. Hey, Jason Reed, what you got out of the Shakedown and Void Strike. So I'm pumped about it. I like it. I also just love this song. I love the story behind this song. I imagine Rob Otto knows lots and lots about music. He might know about it, but I'm going to explain it all to you in the intro. Cobalt says Void Strike is magnificent. Thank you. Thank you very much. For those of you just joining us, got a few more seconds before we go live. We are going to books, don't forget, now is the time. If you've finished up your Audible listen of Void Strike, you want to get over there and you want to review it at Audible. Don't be shy. Leave that 5-star, 3 to 4 sentences describing what you liked about it. Try not to put in spoilers, but you can if you gotta. Nah, just don't put in spoilers. And then, of course, book 1 of the series, Shakedown, is closing in on 1,500 ratings, which is great. We got to get Void Strike up. Got to pump up these numbers. 53. Those are rookie numbers. We got to get those pumped up. Hello, Daryl. How you doing? And of course, if you have read it on Amazon, either the hardcover, if you bought it from Amazon, or the Kindle, got 23 reviews on Kindle for this bad boy. We're going to need to start pumping those up. We'll talk more about that after the read. It is party time. I came back right on schedule. Let me move this chat app because you know how you people are. You know. Oh, I know what's going on. There we go. And there lieth the problem. Let's get ready to read, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Make sure we are recording. Uh-oh, got problems with Logic Pro. Hold on, everybody. Oh, there it is. Sometimes when you use second screen, things get weird. Not that that's unusual for things to get a little weird on this show. There's mixtape track 10. I Put a Spell on You. Let's start recording. Soloed. Testing 1, 2. Testes, 1, 2. Check, check, check. Good. All right. Hide that. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. It is story time. Screamin Jay Hawkins released the song I Put a Spell on You in 1956 on OK Records. That same year saw the release of the original black and white Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I Love Lucy and The Ed Sullivan Show dominated televisions across the country. The Cold War was a constant, unspoken presence. Elvis Presley released Heartbreak Hotel and Hound Dog, transforming popular music and youth culture almost overnight. Before I Put a Spell on You, Hawkins was a trained pianist and singer who came up playing straight blues, jazz, and rhythm and blues. He was respected, but hardly famous. His early records sold modestly, if at all, and his career drifted without direction. The song that would define him was never meant to be a novelty. Hawkins later claimed he recorded it while blackout drunk, so intoxicated he remembered nothing of the session. What came out of the studio was raw, feral, unhinged, unlike anything else on the radio at the time. The record failed on its initial release, but when it caught on years later, it transformed Hawkins from a struggling musician into a cult figure almost overnight. It was after the song's resurgence that the onstage theatrics began. Hawkins started shows by emerging from a coffin. He wore capes and bones, waved smoking skulls, rolled his eyes back into his head. He growled, shrieked, and moaned his way through performances that felt closer to rituals than concerts. He spoke and sang to a human skull he named Henry. Audiences weren't sure if they were watching a joke, a horror show, or something genuinely dangerous. Hawkins leaned into that uncertainty, cultivating an image that blurred the line between performance and possession. Artists such as Alice Cooper, Marilyn Manson, and Rob Zombie openly tout Hawkins as an influence for their horror-themed theatrical approach. I Put a Spell on You has been covered countless times and featured in films released decades after its debut. The artists and movies mentioned in this story are real. The song's cultural afterlife is long, strange, and very well documented. But were Hawkins' voodoo trappings merely theatrics, or was there something more sinister behind them? Of course, it was all for show. Almost certainly. Still, the idea that it might not have been was enough to send several fictional possibilities leaping out of the coffin that is this author's brain. I don't have Henry the Skull to read to, so I'll spin this yarn at your skull instead. In the story, the name of the song and the artist has been changed due to some of the trappings that revolve around the character's family. I hope you enjoy I Put a Spell on You. To think that he had complained the bookstore staff hadn't set out enough seats. 16 folding chairs, but only 5 had a butt in them. It was so embarrassing. He couldn't be done here soon enough. That's about it, he said. To sum up, there was so much more to Jack's career than one song. Simon Gardner closed his book. The edges of the folded papers he had stuffed in the back peeked up when he did. He couldn't think about those right now. He tapped them back down, out of sight, hoping no one noticed. He set the book on the table. People forget that Jack Lawrence was a trained pianist who came up playing straight blues and jazz long before his Simon made air quotes, wailing ever entered the picture. You Under My Spell wasn't meant to be a gimmick. Yes, his theatrics branded him as a novelty act, but outside of America, he was considered a serious musical artist, which, of course, he was. Lots of great stories about him in the book. Are there any questions? The old white man raised his hand. He was there with his wife, presumably both front and center. She held a copy of Simon's book, Spellbound. The man did not. Like they couldn't have just bought 2 copies? Simon nodded at the man. Yes, sir? All that stuff about him coming out of a coffin on stage, the old man said. I've never heard of such a thing. Is that true? The pale as a sheet goth girl in the back row huffed and made a dismissive noise with her mouth. She rolled her eyes for good measure. Yes, it's true, Simon said, trying to be patient. You've never heard of that before? The old man shook his head. Nope. Sounds like a crazy person, though. Fun crazy, but still crazy. Did he ever play with Elvis or Pat Boone? Pat Boone was my favorite. The young black woman sitting far right in the middle row sighed and shook her head. She had been holding a battered cardboard box in her lap the entire time. The 5th and final member of the audience, the bookstore owner, who had sat down to make it look more full, was busy looking at her phone. Jack didn't play with Elvis, although they were contemporaries, Simon said. I don't think Pat Boone would have been caught dead on the same stage with Jack. Do you really not know that Jack used to come out of a coffin on stage? This time, the old woman shook her head. No, and it sounds kind of disturbing, to be honest. Simon picked up his book, held it so it faced the woman. He imagined the wide-eyed, snarling cover image stared out in disgust. But this event is about my book on Waylon Jack Laurent. Simon reactively glanced at the book, as if to make sure he had the right one in his hands. You didn't come to hear about that? We live right down the street, the woman said, smiling. We come to all the readings here. Most of the time, we don't know what the book is about. Awesome. 5 people in the audience. The bookstore owner, clearly irritated to be working at 7 p.m. in a mostly empty store, and 2 old-timers who had no idea who Jack Laurent, or Simon for that matter, was. The goth girl raised her hand. White skin, not pinkish or tan like most Caucasians had, but damn near the color of office paper. Black lipstick and nail polish. A black lace dress. She held what looked like a battered journal, bound in black leather, of course, to her chest. Simon nodded at her, already assuming what the question would be. You didn't really talk about the song, though, she said. The song. The sad reality of a culture that didn't appreciate those who had innovated rock and roll, not just copied it. Oops. The sad reality of a culture that didn't appreciate those who had innovated rock and roll, not just copied it, was that the true creators were often dismissed as one-hit wonders, especially the black artists. Is it true the song was an actual voodoo incantation? The girl asked. It's supposed to make someone fall in love, right? I've read about Jack Laurent on the internet. A lot of people say he had power, like real power. Everyone knows it. So, is it true about You're Under My Spell? She wasn't the only one to wonder such a thing. In Simon's decade of research on Laurent, that subject had come up frequently. The old urban legend was that he was an actual voodoo priest, not just cosplaying one on stage. The old urban legend that he was an actual voodoo priest, not just cosplaying one on stage, cyclically made the rounds in online occult circles. Nothing surprising about that, really, considering Laurent not only popped out of coffins on stage, but had often sung directly to a human skull as well. I think that story's apocryphal, Simon said. I mean, if the song was some incantation, You Are Under My Spell was in the soundtracks of major movies like Hocus Pocus, Natural Born Killers, and Casino. Simon remembered another movie that he hadn't seen, but he assumed a girl who dressed like that had. And 50 Shades Freed. The girl's eyes narrowed. I'm not asking about covers, she said. I mean the original. The one Hungan Laurent recorded in 1956. That made the black lady finally react with something other than a sigh. She turned in her chair and looked at the goth girl, who ignored her. The bookstore owner continued to play on her phone, her nails clicking a little too loud each time she tapped a little too hard. Hungan Laurent. That was a lesser-known nickname, to say the least. This girl knew more than most. She hadn't come here to discuss Laurent's music at all. It's a myth, Simon said. Obviously. The song, the original, not including the covers, has 54 million streams on Spotify. He made his I Know Something You Don't smile, the one Patty used to like. That would be a whole lot of love spells, don't you think? He meant it as a friendly joke. The goth girl didn't laugh. Whatever. She stood. Congrats on your book, mister. Unlike the old couple, she had come to hear about the book, and that was the only question she was going to ask. It made Simon panic a little inside. Wait, he said. Don't you want me to sign a copy for you? They have them right there at the front desk. The girl cradled her journal. I have it on Kindle, she said. She left. The old man turned to his wife. What's Spotify? The old woman shrugged. The bookstore owner stood sharply. Thank you all for coming. We need to clean up the chairs and get ready to close. Thank you, Mr. Gardner. That was really fun. She clapped. The old couple clapped as well. The woman with the cardboard box had to set it aside to join in. Simon's first book. Probably his last. 4 people applauding half-heartedly for something he'd spent the last 10 years of his life on. He had dreamed of this moment, of his first book reading. It was supposed to be special, a huge accomplishment. Reality turned out harsher than expected. No surprise there, not for Simon Gardner. He felt like a loser. This sucked. If Patty had come, that would have been something, but she hadn't. And that really sucked. The bookstore owner started folding and stacking chairs with practiced ease. She looked angry. He had told her he expected at least 50 people to attend. He'd spent hundreds of dollars on Facebook ads for this, targeting people who like rock and roll, history, and, of course, Waylon Jack Laurent. Apparently, there weren't that many of the latter. He had assured the bookstore owner he expected to sell dozens of copies. They had sold 1. No surprise, she was pissed. The old couple asked Simon to sign their book. He did. They thanked him, and they left. At the end, only the woman with the box remained. She approached. The box's top was closed but loose, not taped down. Hotline records printed on the fraying, dented cardboard. That was great. Her smile wasn't effusive, but it wasn't fake either. I thought I knew a lot about my great-grandpa, but you know way more. Her words stopped him cold. You're related to Jack Lawrence? So my dad tells me, she said. Told me. He passed on. Add awkward to embarrassed. I'm sorry, Simon said. Her smile widened. Oh, don't be. I was a little kid when he died, and he was kind of an asshole. Took after Waylon Jack in that he fucked around on his wife. A lot. She shrugged, box and all. So, you know. Simon did know. His dad had been an asshole too. Did you meet your great-grandpa? From my research, he wasn't all that... from my research, he wasn't all that close to his children. She laughed, a bright sound that brought some warmth to the cold bookstore. His children? She shook her head. That's a nice way to put it. Sure were a bunch of them, huh? My grandpa said Jack Lawrence fucked around a lot on the road. He had like 50 kids, right? Jack himself had claimed 70 to 75 children. Simon had learned this in his research, but 50 was already such a massive number. He didn't want to make it sound worse than it already was. Right around there, yeah. Simon offered his hand. I'm Simon Gardner. She looked at the hand, then glanced to the table. She set the cardboard box down and shook. Bridget Lawrence, she said. Nice to meet you. Her last name was Lawrence. Amazing. Most of Jack Lawrence's offspring had their mother's last names. Was Bridget one of the few in the direct family line, or at least those that Jack actually claimed as his own? I'm guessing your grandfather was Marvin Lawrence? She nodded and tilted her head, appreciating the guess. You do know your stuff, she said. Marvin was my granduncle. Never met him. Raymond was my grandfather. Raymond Lawrence. Jack Lawrence's youngest son. Small world, Simon said. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'd love to pick your brain about your family. Can I buy you a coffee or something? Her smile faded slightly. She glanced at his wedding ring. Strictly historical, Simon said in a rush. For history's sake. He held up his left hand and wiggled his fingers, as if she hadn't just looked at the ring. Married and all. I have spent a good chunk of my time studying your great-grandpa. Talking to his blood kin is really rare. His stumbling but honest explanation placated her. Thanks, but I gotta be going, Bridget said. I'm moving, so, gotta keep packing. I was in the middle of it when I saw an ad on Facebook about this event. She grabbed the box and gave it a little shake. Great timing. I'd never heard of you. No offense, I'm not really a big reader or anything. Simon glanced at the box. A bit of crinkled orange paper peeked up from the folded closed lid. The corner of a poster, maybe, with only the letters ENT visible. Was that a Jack Lawrence concert flyer? The box read Hotline Records. Lawrence had recorded for them in the 70s, well after his star had faded. It's okay, Simon said. I'm not a big writer. This is my only book. It's my first book. She raised her eyebrows. Congrats. What an accomplishment, right? It hadn't seemed like such a few moments ago, but now, maybe it was. Anyway, I was packing up for the move and I saw this event on Facebook, she said. Seemed weird because I don't go to bookstores or anything, but really caught my eye because of my great-grandpa and all. This box of stuff's been passed down in my family for years. I've already moved with it twice, never even looked inside. I feel bad about that because I feel bad about that, but, well, to be honest, I don't care all that much. My car's packed for the move. I don't have room for any more stuff. I thought about dropping it off at a library or something. Maybe they could figure out which of this stuff belongs in a museum. She shrugged. I don't know. Anyway, when I saw this event, I thought you might know what to do with it. Simon's heart thudded as she opened the box's flaps. Inside, treasure. Just a bunch of beat-up posters and stuff, Brigitte said. Some letters and some other things. It's all real old. Some records, too, but who has a record player anymore, right? Simon nodded. Right. She casually rifled through the box's contents. Simon had to stop himself from yelling at her to be more gentle. Anyway, there you go, Brigitte said. A museum or whatever, or feel free to throw it out. It's yours. Nice to meet you, Mr. Gardner. I hope your book does really well. I gotta get going. She gave an apologetic grin and turned to walk away. Wait, Simon said. Can I sign a copy of my book for you? You know, they have them right up front. She glanced at the counter where the bookstore owner stood, looking both bored and annoyed. I'm sorry, Brigitte said. I can't really afford a book right now. She was moving. In her car, probably because she couldn't afford a moving truck, let alone movers. Wasn't that the way of things? The great-granddaughter of a man who had made one of the most famous songs of all time, and she couldn't afford a moving truck. Or a book. Simon held out his copy. Have this one. She glanced at it. Really? Well, that looks like your personal copy. It is, Simon said. Don't worry, I can get more. He leaned in closer, but only a little. I probably have to buy a bunch of copies, because they didn't sell. I'll probably have to buy the copies they didn't sell, so I'll have plenty. Brigitte made a pouty face. Sympathetic, but not demeaning. I'm sorry to hear that. She accepted the book. But I'll take you up on your generosity. Thank you. I can't wait to read it. Will you sign it for me? She offered the book back to him. Simon took it, almost missing it because his attention was still focused on the box. Absolutely. To Brigitte, how do you spell that? He opened the cover as she answered, and his attention was no longer on the box or on her. The papers he had folded and stuffed in the back. Divorce papers. The ones Patty had sent him. The ones he had refused to sign, going on 6 months now. Mr. Gardner, did you hear me? Simon pulled the folded papers from the book and shoved them into the cardboard box. Sorry, he said. Well, how do you spell your name again? Greg, if you're still watching, thanks for popping in. He'd gotten the coffee anyway. The bookstore owner, Simon couldn't remember her name, had not so politely reminded him a second time that they were closing, and would he be so kind as to take most of the books with him. The store did not need 50 copies. She agreed to keep only 3. Simon had quickly signed those, then promised he would come back tomorrow and take the rest of the books, but he couldn't do that at the moment, and he left. He'd taken Brigitte's box with him. An untouched caramel frappuccino. An untouched caramel frappuccino sat atop the table. Most of the box's contents were junk, stuff that wasn't impressive enough to be displayed or sold on eBay, but hadn't been thrown out. Maybe no one had trashed it because it was family stuff. mementos of a once semi-famous and still nefarious relative. Stuff like that, it probably just felt bad to throw it in a dumpster. Folded concert posters that disintegrated when unfolded. Some handwritten letters and some faded telegrams. Most from women asking for money, asking for help with children they claimed Jack had sired. A few pictures of women and their children, so faded and decomposed they looked more like ghosts than people. Bills, royalty statements, and even a few contracts of all things, only slightly more legible than the letters and telegrams and photos. Matchbooks from bars and theaters. A black feather that may have come from one of the boas Jack was known to wear on stage. Some true treasures in there, but compared to what he had found in the bottom of the box, it was all worthless junk. Because in the bottom of the box, Simon found records. Two 12-inch LPs. A 45 RPM single, the edge slightly chipped, of Jack's 1958 song, The Bats in the Belfry. And at the very bottom, in a thick cardboard sleeve, marred only by a slight coffee ring stain, was what Simon now held in his hands. A thing of such rarity, he'd only dreamed it might still exist. A 10-inch acetate disc, the kind musicians used to get at studios when they went in to record live. One-take material. The whole band, if there was a band, playing together and walking away with a single two-sided recording. The kind of thing a truck driver named Elvis Presley had done when he walked into Sun Studios to record My Happiness and That's Where Your Heartaches Begin for his mother. The very recording that made Sam Phillips take notice of the young man. The kind of thing Johnny Cash, B.B. King, Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, and the killer himself, Jerry Lee Lewis, created early in their careers. The kind of thing made by Waylon Jack Laurent in April of 1956. He'd been on the road in Memphis when he'd learned his wife, Evelyn Wildfire Baptiste, a touring and recording artist in her own right, was cheating on him with her drummer. Her drummer and several others. Like husband, like wife, it seemed. Waylon Jack recorded the song, so the story went, while blackout drunk. So much so, he claimed to not remember recording it at all. The disc had a weathered circular label in the center. Once white, it was now more of a stained, mottled light brown, darkened, perhaps, by decades of cigarette smoke. Parts of the label had peeled away. In old typewriter letters, fading and dim, were the words, "You're under my spell." And below that, also in echoes of an old typewriter ribbon, a name, Jack Laurent. At Sun Studios, a drunken, heartbroken Waylon Jack had recorded this song in the very same room where Elvis, Cash, and Perkins had recorded their early songs. Jack had taken that 10-inch disc, the same one Simon now held in his hands ever so carefully, back to Harlem, where he had played it for Evelyn. The rest was history. Evelyn was so touched by the song that she had instantly retired from performing. By all accounts, she became a dedicated mother and housewife. A strange thing for a woman well known for her outlandish onstage performances and her voracious backstage appetites. And yet, in the moors of the 1950s, most people simply nodded and said, "It's about time." Evelyn had been 23. Long overdue to settle down and stop shaking her ass on stage. Or so people thought back then. You're Under My Spell had been released later that same year. It put Waylon Jack on the rock and roll map. That goth girl, she'd had it right. Almost right. Because Jack Laurent actually was a Hungan, a voodoo priest. Self-proclaimed, anyway. He had done some sketchy shit in his day. Rumors of animal sacrifices, bloodletting, shady deals in shady places. Had that simply been part of his shtick, the marketing that made adults fear their kids were listening to his music? Or had it been real? The dark story behind You're Under My Spell was that Jack Laurent imbued his spirit into the recording. The same disc Simon now held in his hands. No, the song itself wasn't a spell, as the goth girl had thought. The covers by Nina Simone, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bette Midler, Annie Lennox, Samantha Fish, and more had no power. The multiple pressings of Jack's original recording had no power. It was all just music. And the millions of digital streams over the decades, nothing special about those either. The magic, supposedly, the love magic, was in the acetate disc. The disc Simon now held in his hands. Was there power in this fragile bit of plastic? And could that love magic work again? Carefully, ever so carefully, Simon slid the disc back into its protective sleeve. He put the sleeve back in the box. He let his right hand rest on the box's edge, just in case someone snuck up from behind him and tried to snatch it. With his left hand, he pulled out his phone. He dialed. No answer. Of course, there wasn't an answer. Patty was probably busy fucking him, the bastard she had cheated on Simon with. Could Waylon Jack's magic work again? Was it good magic? Or was it a different kind? And did Simon really give a shit either way? His heart hurt. All the time. All the time. Voicemail picked up. "This is Patty. Leave a message and I'll get back to you." Even the recorded sound of her voice, digitized and thinned into ones and zeros, streamed into the cold of outer space and sent back again, was like rusty nails in his heart. "Hey," Simon said. Look, I don't want this, okay? I don't want a divorce. But I know you want one. Anyway, look, I'm ready to sign the papers. But we have to do it at our place." His eyes winced shut. It wasn't their place anymore. She had moved out. And she had taken all of her shit with her. "I mean, at my apartment," Simon said. I need to do it there, okay? With you. You need to be there. That's all I ask, okay? And don't bring Connor. Give me a call back or a text. It's all good. Talk to you soon." He managed to end the call without autonomically saying, "I love you." Simon looked into the box. He looked at the cardboard sleeve. If legend was to be believed, and why not believe it? Simon had nothing to lose. This decades-old recording had saved Jack Laurent's marriage. Could it save Simon's? He would find out. As soon as Patty called back, he would find out. That is it for part one. Oop, gotta stop the recording. A is gonna come up. I'm bummed. I got some pictures to show you guys. But there were many pictures of me and Rob in this facility, but I didn't get those. Sorry, Rob. I've only got a couple of them because where Waylon Jack recorded this song. Rob and I and A were there at Sun Studios in Memphis. Fantastic. If you go, whether you're a music fan or not, if you're ever there, you should go check that joint out. It's a great, amazing place, amazing tour. And if you do love music, it's mind-bogglingly cool. You get to stand exactly, literally where Elvis Presley recorded that first record of his, which he made for his mama. And, Sam Perkins, Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison, The Killer, and it's just an endless stream of, well, it's not endless, a big stream of people who helped formulate rock and roll. It's a really, really cool place. Yes, David, this is a multi-part story. Let's get the mixtape. No mixtapes. Yeah, keep that up there. Hey, come on up whenever you are ready. Let's go to books. Oops. That is me standing in the exact same spot where Elvis Presley recorded those records and several others before he blew up and became a worldwide cultural phenom. And that's me getting in my Elvis on. And then we've got, fun trip it was so fun. So fun. We loved it so much. A's mic is on. Her cue is up. And then that is the piano where the killer himself, Jerry Lee Lewis, used to play. There's actually a little spot on it because he kept putting his cigarettes out on. There's a burn spot on it. He's like, well, I don't care about your piano. And then the great thing about this shot right here is the picture on the back is a very famous picture. I believe that's obviously Elvis Presley. I think that's Johnny Cash to the right, Carl Perkins, I believe, in the middle, and the killer on the left. And that is a picture shot at that very piano in that very same spot. Yeah. So that is literally the same piano that those guys used to write a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, that's
Sun
right.
Studios does a great job of that.
Great.
It's such a great job.
It.
They literally, also, I will say, if you ever go to Nashville, and this is in Memphis, if you ever go to Nashville, the Ryman Auditorium also does a really good job at allowing you to stand where, you know, all of the lovely, lovely people that you're there to see stood when they were performing for the first time. At the Ryman, just like here, there's a little dip in the slatted wood of the hardwood floors where people just stood the whole time. And so there's a little bit of wornness right there where they stand. Here at Sun Studios, in the perfect acoustics of that room, or what are the Sun Records acoustics of that room, and also the same thing, a little dip in the hardwood where it was perfectly acoustic, where you should stand at the Ryman Auditorium. It's beautiful.
And as a bass player, there is a little spot on the floor. I don't have a picture of it. Rob says, I see a little dip in the photo. Hey-oh! That's the little dip he's talking about. There's a spot on the floor. I forget the upright bass player's name, but the bass player and the drummer who were with Elvis for a big chunk of his beginning career.
The Jordanaires, yeah.
The Jordanaires, where, you know, it's upright bass, so it's got a little peg on the bottom. There's a hole right there in the floor, in the linoleum, where that bass got put every single time. So cigarette burns on the piano, hole in the linoleum from the bass. They still got the same amps. It's incredible. We loved it. And now, go back to Maine. And then let's switch back over. Oops. Oh, everybody, guess who's here? Oh, that's very quiet.
Yeah, I don't have another angle.
I'm getting it for you right now, babe.
I figured,
Whoop.
yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Okay, not
Chris
bad.
Grawl,
Good.
thank you. Yeah, these microphones are awesome.
Doing good.
We really, really enjoy them.
So to sum up, I'm actually not sure where Screamin Jay Hawkins went with that blackout thing. I don't think it was at Sun Studios. I didn't find that, or I forgot. I meant to find it, but I forgot about it.
Yeah, and I don't think so.
But because A and I and Rob have been to that place, And that is the amazing bit of rock history that Elvis just went in to supposedly record a song for his mama. Thought that place would be pretty cool. So if you guys ever get there, not only can you have the real history, you can imagine that Waylon Jack Laurent went in there to record his song, which may or may not be magic.
I will say this. You can no longer go to Sun Records and record an acetate or any version of a go and stand in there and record. It is now a museum and a celebration. There are many places in Nashville, many places in Memphis, many places all over the world that you can go and do your own recording. Of course, now we do it differently, but that was a beautiful moment that you got to.
You're actually, that's not correct. You can absolutely go rent that from I think it's 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. You can actually go in there and record in the same studio.
Yeah. I was getting there.
Sorry.
You can't go in and record one acetate with two sides and two songs. It is definitely going to be pricier for you.
Yes. Vamp?
Because, of course, now they're a museum. They're also a nonprofit because there are people who just love the Memphis sound, the Stax sound, all of that, and they're trying to bring this into the modern day. You can still go in and record there. You can't do the thing I said, which is what Elvis did. He recorded a 45 for his mom, and I know one side was Lottie Miss Claudie. And if you're a Elvis fan, am I still vamping?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're an Elvis fan, Lottie Miss Claudie, it starts, Lottie, Lottie, Lottie Miss Claudie, oh, you sure been good to me. Please don't excite me, baby. You know I can't be free. And I'm like, why did you send that to your mom?
His mama liked it. The point was he recorded 2 songs his mama liked. One was hymn, and one was apparently the hymn of Lottie, Lottie, Miss Claudie, whatever. Okay, so we're able to get the script up. Okay. Okay, mister. Okay, mister. All right, so time for housekeeping. Housekeeping. Oh, this did not get updated.
It did.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
You're correct.
Orange.
You are absolutely correct. All right. Sunday. Oh, why do I have... Yeah, that's right, mixtape. Sorry. Get rid of mixtape, because now we're at Scott Sigler Slices. Sunday, January 25th, mixtape track number 9, Blinding Lights Part 3, hit the podcast feed. We did not have an episode on Sunday, February 1st. You're not missing anything. Tuesday, February 3rd, Deep Cuts episode 83. Crypt Void Strike launch party. Went live in the feed. And tonight...
Tonight we are doing reviews that have come in already for Void Strike and continuing to celebrate the release of Void Strike. A lot of you have emailed us. A lot of you have done reviews. A lot of you have sent in entries for the contest. And we're going to do all that tonight.
We got a lot to get through tonight for sure. Saturday, February 7th, we have Stevie the Iceberg Ricky Berg's Junkies Party. That goes from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern time. And if you're elsewhere in the world, you'll have to use Google to tell you what friggin' time that is. You can find that at bit.ly/junkies party and hang out with Steve. I am never there. Sometimes A is there, but you never know. It's great. Get to hang out with people from all over the world. Mm-hmm. Mostly America, Canada, but still. Every now and then, some foreigners pop in.
Yeah, there's Aussies, there's Scotsmen. There's a handful of folks.
Can you go ahead and pull that fan out? Because this just got out of control in here all of a sudden.
What happened?
I need you to turn the fan. It's hot.
Oh, okay.
That could be it, because I got 17 socks on. I wear a lot of socks. I'm very warm. That'll probably help. Okay, let's get rid of that. And all right, here we go. We got stuff to cover here. And on the next Deep Cuts, this is only for you guys watching live or after the fact, we are going to do, tell them what we're going to do.
We are going to celebrate some of the Siglerverse ships, meaning we might celebrate PJ and Sarah.
I think I must understand. Isn't a ship when you want characters to get together, not that already are together?
Both. It's both.
Is it?
Yeah,
I don't know shit about romance books.
Bennifer, back in the day when I was a child, J-Lo and Ben Affleck were Bennifer, that is a ship. It's any ship that you want.
Okay, but there's a phrase called shipping, if I know this correctly, where the fans want characters to get together. So it's going to be, we're going to discuss existing relationships in the Siglerverse, and that'll be pretty fun. And then if you guys have a dream relationship where there's like, oh, I just think these two creatures should get together, you can email that to info@emptyset.com. Now, if you're dirty, Rob, we're probably not going to talk about it because you probably are imagining alien genitalia doing things. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. Ask Daniel Baker.
How dare you malign your co-author?
Yes, I am maligning my co-author. But all of you watching, feel free, send it to info@emptyset if you think there's characters that should have connected at some point, or you think they will connect. We'd be happy to talk about that, and we'll be talking about the ones that actually already done. No, Tyler Miller, we are not talking about spacecraft ship. Chat room's already degrading. It's disintegrating into a bunch of juveniles.
I'm not mad about any
juveniles.
Of this. I'm not mad about any of this.
Okay.
We're talking about spacecraft? Are we talking about? No, we're not talking about spacecraft.
I don't think I missed anything. Can you scooch a smidge closer?
I can, yeah.
Get a little closer.
Is that good?
Okay, here we go. And I think we're about ready to roll in deep cuts. Am I missing anything?
I'm ready.
No. Let's go. We got one more time.
I was going to say, do we have to switch things?
We will. But
okay.
First of all, since Deep Cuts is recorded and we had its own podcast, I've got to remind you guys once again that, how the fuck do I do this? There it is. Boom. If you have read or listened to The Crypt Shakedown, I hope you have left a review about that book over at Audible, over at Amazon.com. And what matters though, we're closing in on 1,500 ratings for that, which is really, really good. Every time you pass another threshold, like 1,500, gets a little more algorithm juice, gets a little more juice on its face. And then you come over here, and this is the big one. This is what we really want. If you are finishing up Void Strike, and once you're done with it, if you listen to the amazing performance by Ray Porter, who also did Shakedown, please get over to Audible. Please leave a big fat 5-star review in 3 to 4 sentences in your review. A little bit longer reviews impact the algorithm.
I looked it up today, and I think it needs to be at least 9 words, 9 unique words. I don't know if that's true. I just Googled it.
Let's do 3 or 4 sentences for me. Do 3 or 4 sentences what you liked about the book. Try not to leave spoilers because people may see those reviews, but the longer review with the 5-star boosts the algorithm. And if you weren't here at the beginning, the algorithm is the secret sauce that makes Amazon and Audible and the internet in general show my books to people who have never heard of me before. So you are helping spread the stank. And of course, obviously, you want to actually spread the stank. You want to talk to your pals.
Yeah,
talk to everybody and urge them to go get the series and get rolling on it.
Absolutely. So we are going to stop and restart?
We're going to stop and restart. That's right. Okay. Yep. So we're going to do what we always do. We're going to have fun reading reviews from the current reviews for Void Strike. A's got some funny ones. There's some good ones there. We do all that. We're going to shut down. Don't go anywhere other than to go get yourself a beverage. Pop right back. This will pop up in 2 seconds. But for now, we got to do this.